You know, we've talked about HOAs a lot. And we've shown you how the HOA varies from place to place. Having grown up on a ranch, I'm not comfortable living close to people in the first place. I mean, I like people, but two different times in my life, I bought a home that was had an HOA, homeowners association. I think at one point it was $300 a month for something. I'm not exactly sure what you got for that, but in any case, you know, we've heard story after story about, you know, you can't fly your flag, or your pole's too big, or your pole's too small, or, you know, whatever it happens, or I can see, you know, the top of a shed beyond your stockade fence. I mean, we've all heard those stories, right? Well, it's not the first time, certainly won't be the last time. And HOA has had trouble with homeowners and politics. How far does free speech, now ask yourself this, how far does free speech go when you live in an area with an HOA? When people sign that paperwork to move into an HOA area, do they surrender some of their rights to express themselves? Well, that's what we're going to talk to Dave Rauch about. He's the CEO and founder of Protect Building Services since the mid-'90s. His company has worked to improve the quality of life for HOAs. That's got to be a job in itself. From coast to coast, they provide a wide range of services. They even create manuals specific to each community. And if you before you move into an HOA area, you may want to check something like that out. David Rauch is with me. Mr. Rauch, how are you?
I'm good. Rick, how are you?
I'm good, because I don't live in an HOA. I live back out in the country. In this particular case, I guess the Homeowners Association had a problem with a guy's bumper sticker. Basically, he's got a couple American flags. It's a pickup, and then he's got "Let's Go Brandon" on the tailgate. And they said, well, it's a nuisance. You can't do it, or you can do it, but cover it up as you drive out of the community. I mean, come on. What rights does the Homeowners Association have? What rights does the homeowner have?
Well, it's actually very complicated, Rick. There's 355,000 HOAs in the U.S., and each one of those is governed by a set of CC&Rs, conditions, covenants, conditions, and restrictions. And in those CC&Rs, you know, there's all kinds of rules and regulations about what you can and can't do in that community. And this affects 72 million people that live in HOAs, so we're not talking a small number of people. And in those CC&Rs, I mean, they pretty much tell you you can't put a political sign in your grass in your yard, but you can put it in your window. They tell you, you know, about flagpoles, although I think that flagpole issue was ruled on nationally. So there's national and state regulations on top of the HOA regulations. But as you've rightly observed, HOAs are fairly well regulated.
And if somebody is listening to this and they go, I don't know what I've got as far as the CC&R's conditions, covenants, and restrictions, you're going to find that with your title work, you know, to your property. And you know, if you don't do anything else before you buy a house, at least look at that. I mean, you may be buying into something you don't want to be a part of. You know, this bumper sticker issue. You know, out where I live, you know, you see bumper stickers all the time. And I don't think much of it. And if you're in the HOA area, you know, you got to mow your grass just so. You got to put your trash cans over here, not over there. I mean, the fence has to meet these guidelines or those guidelines. I mean, that just runs afoul of everything I'm about and who I am. I guess it's how you're raised. But, I mean, what's the latest on this bumper sticker thing? Is he going to have to take, because that bumper sticker goes all the way across his back tailgate.
Yep. Well, I don't know about you, but my mom told me not to wear my religion or my politics on my sleeve, or else I'm going to tee off a lot of people, usually half the country these days. And so I think, you know, with the number of flags and the size of the bumper sticker, I think, what was his name? Sam knew he was headed for trouble possibly. But from what I understand now, he's got an attorney, and the attorney has advised him that he can keep his bumper sticker, but that it's got to be reduced in size to 24 inches by 36 from what he's currently got. So the attorney's involved, and yeah, you know, if you run afoul of an HOA board of directors of the association's rules and regs, you're going to be looking at having to hire an attorney pretty quick. And you're absolutely correct. When you are looking with your realtor to buy into an HOA, not only look at your CC&Rs and read them real well as to what the restrictions are, but look at that reserve study and its funding. Look at that operating budget, ask for a copy of the operating budget, and also ask that manager, talk to the manager of the community, and ask them about the common area deferred maintenance. It's very important these days. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac just came out with new rules and regulations because of Surfside, because of Champaign Towers collapse. It said, you know, if you have deferred maintenance in that community, they're not going to buy that loan. So Freddie Mae and Fannie Mac have kind of thrown the gauntlet down here. And I don't want to get away too much from the fascinating story about Sam in Henderson, Nevada, but the HOAs, I want you to know, have big problems. And big problems have to do with why Surfside collapsed. Surfside collapsed not because of construction defects, although that may be what precipitated it. It didn't collapse because of the building next door allegedly was vibrating the site, but it collapsed because of the board of directors' dysfunction. Also, the board wasn't able to pass a special assessment. And you heard originally when that first special assessment came along, it was $3 million. A few years later, it was $9 million. Then it went to $16 million. Well, here's the problem. When that place was built, that high-rise was built in Surfside, the developer never gave that HOA instructions on what to maintain, when, and how. A simple maintenance manual, just like you get in the glove box of your car. They never had it. Not only did they never get that, but they were never given a maintenance program. The developer did not set up a maintenance program for them that showed them what to maintain and when and how, and they didn't give them a reserve study. Only 9 states in the U.S. require reserve studies, and what that is, it's really a budget for where people every month put in a little bit of money into a separate bank account, a reserve account, and that goes to paying for the replacement and repair of some of these larger common area components. So 4 years ago...
The common thing I see, especially going back to HOAs, and, you know, I get it all the time. A friend of mine, I'm an honorary SEAL team member out of San Diego. And, you know, I've got my Budweiser and my big flag, and I don't put the flag out because I don't want it to be stolen. But I had another friend of mine that was flying a SEAL flag. And the HOA, of course, he lives in town, and HOA went nuts, and some people are pro-military, some are anti-military. And, I told him, I said, man, I said, get out of there as quick as you can. If you have no freedom of speech when it comes to what you display, I'm not talking about something obnoxious. I'm talking about something that protects the integrity and sovereignty of the country we live in. Many times these HOAs become inflated with their own self-worth, and I think they go overboard. And if I were to ask you for a short explanation, if I were to say, all right, when people sign the paperwork to move into an HOA, do they or do they not surrender some of their rights to express themselves? What would you say?
I'd say they absolutely do. You know, when you move into an HOA, you're moving into a highly regulated environment. You know, there's almost all HOAs are professionally managed, but there's 30 or 40% of them, of that 355,000 that are unmanaged. And
I think, unfortunately, a lot of people, you know, when they move into an area, you know, they like the house, it's close to the kids' school and all that. You see HOA and you think, okay, well, you know, they're good. We kick in $100 a month or $300 a month or whatever it is, so they mow the median out in the street, whatever. But it's much more involved than that.
Absolutely.
And I would tell personally, I would never, ever, ever live in an area with an HOA, because the more people that you get involved with your life, usually the more complicated your life gets. And I know that's kind of a cynical way to look at it, but David Rauch, he's the CEO and founder of ProTech Building Services. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're out of San Diego, right?
Yeah, I'm speaking to you from Scripps Ranch, Rick.
Oh, yeah. Know it well.
Yeah.
I broadcasted out of KFMB for about 16 years and Kogo before that. So if people want to get more information about HOAs or what they can and can't do, if they just want to tap into your expertise, you have a website, a phone number. What do you want to throw out there?
Yeah, there's actually two things. There's Resource CAI, Community Associations Institute, is caionline.org. And that has a ton of information about HOA living. And then there's our website, protec.com. That's protec.com. We've got a bunch of interesting articles. I just wrote one about how to prevent another Surfside Champlain Towers type of collapse. So that's what you can do there.
Appreciate it very much, Mr. Rauch. Appreciate the call.